Jen Psaki says the Afghanistan evacuation was a success, but it's not. Hey guys, my name is Jason Wesley, and this is not a podcast. So this is part 2 of the Afghanistan Pullout. Well, we're after August 31st, and Jen Psaki says the pullout is a success.
I would say that this is now on track, Peter, to be the largest airlift in U.S. history. And that is bringing American citizens out. It is bringing our Afghan partners out. It is bringing allies out. So no, I would not say that is anything but a success.
But why didn't we just extend the timeline? Oh yeah, that's right, because the Taliban threatened the United States.
If the US or the UK wanted to extend the 31st of August deadline in order to continue evacuations out of the country, would you agree to that?
No.
Why not?
This is something, you can say it's a red line. President Biden announced this agreement that until 31st of August they would withdraw all their military forces. So if they extend it, that means they are extending occupation. While there is no need for that, I think it will deteriorate the relation, that will create mistrust between us. If they are intent on continuing the occupation, so it will provoke a reaction.
Biden said that everyone would be evacuated.
But let me be clear. Any American who wants to come home, we will get you home.
Extending that pledge to Afghan allies who helped their mission for the last 20 years.
The United States stands by its commitment that we've made to these people.
Just days before August 31st, Pentagon Press Secretary John Kirby said he doesn't even know how many people we need to get out.
Breakdown of those numbers, the 7,000, saying this is U.S., this is Afghan.
I do not have a breakdown. I suspect that over time, as our manifesting process gets more refined, we may be able to be there, but we don't have that specific breakdown.
As of today, how many American citizens remain in Afghanistan?
I don't know.
Now, former President Trump, or current president, depending upon what you believe, warned back in 2017 about a hasty withdrawal.
A hasty withdrawal would create a vacuum that terrorists, including ISIS and al-Qaeda, would instantly fill, just as happened before September 11th. And as we know, in 2011, America hastily and mistakenly withdrew from Iraq. As a result, our hard-won gains slipped back into the hands of terrorist enemies. Our soldiers watched as cities they had fought for and bled to liberate and won were occupied by a terrorist group called ISIS. The vacuum we created by leaving too soon gave safe haven for ISIS to spread, to grow, recruit, and launch attacks. We cannot repeat in Afghanistan the mistake our leaders made in Iraq.
And people on the left started pointing out immediately that this was all Trump's fault and he negotiated the withdrawal. But for some reason, they fail to remember that Trump sent in airstrikes within hours of saying that he had a good talk. Afghan conflict. U.S. conducts first airstrike on Taliban since deal March 4th, 2020. On Saturday, the U.S. and the Taliban signed an agreement for bringing peace to Afghanistan after more than 18 years of conflict. The U.S. and its NATO allies agreed to withdraw all troops within 14 months if the militants upheld the deal. That's a big if. The spokesman added that the U.S. was still committed to peace, but had a responsibility to defend its Afghan partners. He said Afghans and the U.S. had complied with their side of the agreement, while the Taliban appeared intent on squandering the opportunity. Side note, people also tend to forget that President Trump visited Afghanistan and spent Thanksgiving with the troops and even served them their meal.
The trip was so closely guarded that even Afghani leadership didn't know about it until Air Force One was about to land. President Trump surprised U.S. troops at Bagram Airfield in Afghanistan with a Thanksgiving visit, serving turkey to troops.
We love them. We love them. We say happy Thanksgiving.
The president also met with President Ashraf Ghani before announcing the U.S. has restarted peace talks with the Taliban, which once harbored al-Qaeda. Mr. Trump was set to meet with Taliban leaders in September, but called off a meeting at Camp David, declaring discussions dead after a Taliban attack in September in Kabul that killed an American soldier.
It's not a good thing they did with killing a soldier. They want to make a deal, so we'll see what happens. If they make it, fine. If they don't make it, that's fine.
But the Biden administration left Americans and told them that they need to leave the airport due to ISIS threats.
And the frankly chilling warning from the U.S. Embassy Kabul that U.S. officials are telling Americans to stay away from the airport in the Afghan capital due to security threats.
And then after the last airplane left, the Taliban celebrated.
هیڅ وخت هم اشغالګر نه دی پاتې شوی، همیشه چې اشغالګر راغلی دی هغه وتلی دی او شکست یې خوړلی دی. نو داسې دا یو حقیقت او دا یو واقعیت اوس دی شکست یې وخوړ او لاړه.
And the White House immediately started shifting the narrative that even the New York Times called it out. Eager to shift narrative, Biden team puts airlift in historical context. President Biden briefly referred to the Berlin airlift in describing the United States evacuation efforts in Afghanistan. He was revealing the inspiration for a broader plan to redeem his messy exit. Jake Sullivan, the president's national security advisor, said Monday that the scores of rescue flights the United States was initiating each day was likely to be regarded as one of the largest airlifts in history. Secretary Blinken and the State Department put this out on Instagram. We will continue our relentless efforts to help Americans, foreign nationals, and Afghans leave Afghanistan if they choose. Now you see the words that they use there, if they choose. Why are they so loose with people being murdered by the Taliban if they choose to stay, but totalitarian when it comes to a vaccine? Here's another side note. How in the hell did it sound like a good idea just to abandon Bagram Air Base? But when the president was asked what the plan was after August 31st, here was his response.
And thank the press for being here. We're going to go private now.
Then the White House cut his feed. Such an empathetic president, though. But God forbid you say anyone's stranded, because Jen Psaki will have to call you out.
Most of the criticism is not of leaving Afghanistan, it's the way that he has ordered it to happen, by pulling the troops before getting these Americans who are now stranded. Does he have a sense of that?
First of all, I think it's irresponsible to say Americans are stranded. They are not. We are committed to bringing Americans who want to come home. We are in touch with them via phone, via text, via email, via any way that we can possibly reach Americans to get them home if they want to return home.
There are no Americans stranded is the White House's official position on what's happening in Afghanistan right now.
I'm just calling you out for saying that we are stranding Americans in Afghanistan when we have been very clear that we are not leaving Americans who want to return home. We are going to bring them home, and I think that's important for the American public to hear and understand.
Okay.
But at least we don't negotiate with terrorists. Or maybe we do.
Why haven't we heard the president say the United States does not negotiate with terrorists? Is that still the U.S. policy?
Well, of course it is, Peter, but I would also say that there's a reality that the Taliban is currently controlling large swaths of Afghanistan.
But at least the Taliban doesn't have any American military weapons.
Video of Taliban fighters just moments after the U.S. departed, entering a hangar at Hamid Karzai Airport, checking out helicopters and other equipment the U.S. military left behind.
Representative Jim Banks of Indiana listed off the equipment.
The Taliban now has access to over $85 billion worth of American military equipment. That includes 75,000 vehicles, over 200 airplanes and helicopters, over 600,000 small arms and light weapons. The Taliban now has more Black Hawk helicopters than 85% of the countries in the world. But they don't just have weapons. They also have night vision goggles, body armor, medical supplies. The Taliban now has biometric devices, which have the fingerprints, eye scans, and the biographical information of the Afghans who helped us over the last 20 years.
At least the Pentagon spokesperson, John Kirby, said the equipment was made unusable.
We made sure to demilitarize, to make unusable all the gear that is at the airport, all the aircraft, all the ground vehicles. The only thing that we left operable are a couple of fire trucks and some forklifts so that the airport itself can remain more operational going forward. So
wait, they can't fly anything? Well, at least the Taliban doesn't know who's stranded in Afghanistan. It's not like they have a list or anything that the State Department gave to them.
Well, there was a Pentagon official in that report that referred to this as a kill list. Are you disputing that any of this information was given, or are you just disputing that it was a huge comprehensive list? I mean, maybe there was a smaller list and those SIVs did not get into the airport. Is there any chance that happened?
But apparently Joe Biden was given full opportunity to have control of Kabul airport, and he declined for some stupid reason.
We were offered the opportunity to control all of Kabul and the airport, and we said no, it's okay. We said to the Taliban, you control the city, we'll just keep the airport. I mean, what is going on at the senior levels of our military?
I mean, at least when the caskets came, Joe Biden wasn't in a major rush to get to a meeting like he did at FEMA when he was asked a question about Afghanistan.
I'm not supposed to take any questions, but go ahead. I'm not going to answer Afghanistan now. Okay.
Now, what did he mean he wasn't supposed to? Who's giving him orders? Anyways, I'm wondering what was so pressing that he had to keep checking his watch multiple times during the dignified transfer. Listen to a couple of fathers of the fallen Marines.
In reference to the checking of his watch, that didn't happen just once. That happened on every single one that came out of that airplane. It happened on every single one of them. They would release the salute, and he looked down at his watch on every last one, all 13.
I mean, at least we got everyone that wanted to leave Afghanistan, except we didn't. Here's the CENTCOM commander.
You would like to bring out everybody that wanted to come out. We're not able to do that. The situation wouldn't allow it. I think we did a very good job of getting everybody that we could get out, given the unique challenges of the tactical situation on the ground.
Oh, so we didn't get everyone out. So how many are left?
And we think the citizens that were not brought out number in the low, very low hundreds. I believe that we're going to be able to get those people out. I think we're also going to negotiate very hard and very aggressively to get our other Afghan partners out.
Oh, the low hundreds? Well, that's reassuring. And what in the actual F? We're going to negotiate hard? How about we're coming to get our people and our equipment, and if you try to stop us, we will kill you. But even after all that, at least the media showed love for our servicemen and women. Vice Prince, August 26th. Why are so many Marines neo-Nazis? While many vets are being outed as far-right extremists, one branch keeps popping up when it comes to neo-Nazis, the United States Marine Corps. And they had to put an editor's note that said, this story was published before the horrific bombing in Kabul that killed 13 U.S. service members, including 11 Marines and dozens of Afghan civilians. We regret the timing and offer condolences to the victims and their families. Dozens? How about closer to 200 were killed and over 200 wounded? Anyways, Bill Maher had a great monologue about Afghanistan and the United States the other night. Watch this.
I'm sorry your professor said something you didn't like. That won't be a problem with the Taliban because you're not allowed to go to school. In Saudi Arabia, grown women can be jailed for doing the kind of things we think of as routine without the permission of a male guardian. China rounds you up if you're the wrong religion and puts you in camps. More children in Burkina Faso work than are in school. Only 5% of Burundians have electricity. The homicide rate in Honduras is 8 times what it is here. The inflation rate in Venezuela is 2,719%. In North Korea, people starve to death. The only people who starve here are doing it for a roll. And the only people who have no water live in California. If you think America is irredeemable, turn on the news or get a passport and a ticket on one of those sketchy airlines that puts its web address on the plane. There's a reason Afghan mothers are handing their babies to us, and we should take them. Americans right now should take in Afghan refugees into their homes and into their neighborhoods. And I'm sure everyone who just clapped is thinking the same thing. Yes, someone who isn't me should definitely do that. But that doesn't make us the bad guys. We're not the bad guys. Oppression is what we were trying to stop in Afghanistan. We failed, but any immigrant will tell you we've largely succeeded here, and yet the overriding thrust of current woke ideology is that America is rotten to the core, irredeemably racist from the moment it was founded, and so oppressive, sexist, and homophobic, we can't find a host for the Oscars or Jeopardy. What's the lesson of Afghanistan? Maybe it's that everyone from the giant dorm room session that is the internet should take a good look at what real oppression looks like.
Will you be my alibi? Oh.